Good morning, everybody. It's John King. It is Friday, the 6th of September, and I'm back live giving you my weekly market update. So what are we going to talk about today? Three things. The first thing we're going to talk about is pay-as-you-go Realtor Buyer's Agent Services. What is it? Is it a good idea? What's it going to mean to the future of real estate? We're going to talk about it. The second thing I want to talk about is it time to renovate? Is it time for you to look at renovating your property? And if so, how should you go about financing it or paying for it? And then third, Dream for All updates, specifically extensions. So extensions are the hot topic right now. What does it mean? Who's the winner? Who's the loser? What's the impact of extensions? We're going to unpack all of it for you this morning. So first and foremost, buyers agents pay-as-you-go services. So this is a real controversial topic. This stems from the real estate lawsuit that happened over the last few years. And it was brought on by two people that were the head of the class action lawsuit, who were sellers that said we were wronged. And one of them is Joshua Sitzer, and somebody named Burnett. So it was called the Sitzer-Burnett lawsuit. And Joshua Sitzer just opened a new company. And lo and behold, that new company is all about changing the real estate model. And his plan is to change how buyers go about buying homes. And I think there's some major warning signs here. I think there's some potential changes that this could lead to. It's no different than Uber taking over the taxi industry, and the taxi industry saying, hey, that's not our model. That's not how we've been doing things forever. And we're going to keep doing the things the way that we've been doing them forever. The truth is, Uber changed the taxi industry, didn't make the taxi industry extinct, but it changed the industry. And we're potentially running into that right now. So let me explain to you what this is. So this is a company called Landian. And Landian's role is to basically say, hey, for $50, we will have a local real estate agent come open a door for you and show you a property. That's it. You pay them $50, they go open the property for you. That's it. Then, if you want to write an offer on the property for $200, they'll get on a Zoom call with you for exactly 1 hour. No more, no less. Exactly 1 hour. And they will talk you through advising you on how to write your offer and help you to construct the offer. Now, that 1 hour, $200 fee buys you follow up with them about that exact offer. So if there's through the counter offers and the acceptance or rejectance or expiration of the offer. So you pay $200 for somebody to help you write an offer, get an hour with them, and then they'll give you some advice on the back and forth and help you with the counter offers. Once the offer is accepted, you're on your own. They don't help you at all. Now they're saying the benefit here is you only spent $200, $250, $50 to view the property, and $200 to have them help you write the offer. But there's nobody to guide you through the process. And they're very clear on their website. Nobody is here to guide you through the process. Nobody is helping explain what inspections you need on the property. Nobody is there to help you explain how to interpret those inspections when you see them. Nobody's there to help you write a request for repairs. And well, what things should you be asking for? For example, a home inspection tells you everything that could be wrong with a property. Guess what? Unless you're buying a brand new home, there's lots of things that are wrong with the home because it's not brand new. You're buying a house knowing that house is of a certain age, knowing that over time, things start to deteriorate. You read a home inspection on your own and you're going to say, oh my gosh, I don't want to buy this house. Or I want the seller to pay for all of this stuff to fix it. And most sellers are not willing to do so. They're going to say, hey, this was disclosed up front. You knew that this house was a 25-year-old home. You knew that the roof had never been replaced, and it's not leaking. There's no problem with the roof, but it's reaching the end of its useful life, and that's why we sold it at the price we sold it at. And so you try and go back and negotiate with the seller. You have nobody to help guide you through that negotiation. You have nobody to help you interpret the forms. You have nobody to say, hey, instead of asking for all those repairs, let's just ask for a seller credit of X amount. And I think I can negotiate with the other side to give you a seller credit. And we can get you $5,000 or $10,000 or $15,000. There's a lot of money you're potentially leaving on the table because you have nobody to guide you through the process. Now, what Landian will lead you to believe is that the realtor's job is simply to open a door, and that, hey, for $50, we can open a door for you. Why pay 2 or 2.5 or 3% to your agent for successfully negotiating the transaction when all realtors are good for is opening a door. Well, that just isn't true. Now, you may feel like you don't need to pay for a full service real estate agent. And I agree, the marketplace should allow for you to choose, but be careful knowing what you're getting when you choose it. It's no different than in the mortgage industry. You could find somebody cheaper than me. You could find a mortgage lender that's an online lender that doesn't have the same overhead as I have, doesn't have the same team and staff to support you as I have, and they're willing to offer a little bit lower interest rate or a little bit lower fee, but you get what you pay for. They don't necessarily have the advice. They don't have the local market expertise, but you can find somebody cheaper, and that's okay. That's a choice. You can choose that. You can go to the gas station and choose self-serve or full serve. I don't know if full serve still exists anymore anywhere, but you have a choice. You can go to Quick Quack Car Wash and you can choose the cheapy one or the expensive one because you have a choice as a consumer. But make sure it's an informed choice. Make sure you understand what your trade-off is, because a lot of people go look at a lot of homes. You start looking at a lot of homes and you're going to be told, hey, you can use this service and it's $1,800 to see 5 homes and write up to 3 offers. But that all adds up pretty darn quickly. And most people don't buy the first or second or third or fourth or fifth home that they go tour. And so understand that everything in life is cost benefit. And so you have a lower cost when you go through one of these services. What benefits are you giving up? And if those benefits are important to you, then you need to think twice. But understand disruption is coming in the real estate industry. And this is just the first of it. I actually was surprised that it took this long after the lawsuit was settled back in March. I expected somebody to come out with this sooner, but it makes sense they waited until the actual implementation of the changes came out, but they've been working on this for a while. So just be aware and be careful. I am still going to use a local real estate agent when I am purchasing homes because I need that local advice. I need somebody not spending an hour on Zoom that met me for the first time when I paid him $50 to go show me a property. I want somebody who understands me and what my needs are. And guess what? I'm not paying them anything unless they help me successfully accomplish my goal. And most of the time, you can get the seller to pay that as part of your offer. So don't be misled with the, hey, you can get something and save tens of thousands of dollars, because it may cost you the ability to get into a home or cost you the advice you need to make sure you don't buy the wrong home. All right, let's switch on to our second of the 3 topics today. The second topic is it time to renovate? So I've got a lot of clients, a lot of people who watch my YouTube channel that are first-time home buyers, but a lot of them who are my past clients or own homes now and are in a position where they're just kind of getting tired of the house that they're in. And a lot of you bought homes in the last 4 years. And so you either bought a home in 2020 and 2021 when rates were super low, but there was no inventory out there. There was no homes to choose from. And so you were stuck taking whatever home you could get your offer accepted on. And once you got your offer accepted on that home, you were blessed to be able to get into any home. And so you accepted it. And you've been living there for the last 3 or 4 years, but you compromised. You accepted a home that wasn't what you wanted. It was smaller, or you're outgrowing that home, but you don't want to give up your great interest rate. And so now you're thinking, I don't know what to do. Well, now is the time to look at renovating your home. And there's lots of ways to pay for renovating your home. And they don't always require you losing your current interest rate. Because you bought in 20 or 21, you've got a good amount of equity. You can tap into that equity by taking a second mortgage or home equity line of credit, or you can do a consolidation loan to put everything into one loan. And it's all about options and running the numbers. And that's where I want to help guide you through that process. If you bought a home in 22 or 23, well, that's where interest rates started going up. And you said, oh, you know what? The house I love is on the market, but I can't afford the payment for that because the interest rate shot up. And so I'm going to buy a house that's smaller. Isn't necessarily what I want to compromise on the home, even though there were more homes to choose from, because you weren't willing to make the monthly payment. Well, now interest rates are coming down. So you might be at a 6, 6.5, 7, 7.5, 8% interest rate. And now we can refinance you to a lower rate. But instead of lowering the payment, because you kind of got comfortable with that payment, you're good with it now. You got some pay raises over the last couple of years. Now we use that amount that you're saving to wrap in the equity you need to pull out to renovate your home. And guess what? You don't have to have a significant amount of equity in the property right now, because we can base that loan on what the house is worth after the improvements are done. In other words, we send the appraiser out and say, hey, based on remodeling the kitchen and adding a bedroom and a bathroom, What's the house worth? Well, today it's worth 400, but with that work, it'll be worth 550. Then we're loaning you money based on the 550 value. So we're actually creating equity in the property and then loaning that equity to you in order to do the renovation. So if you're in a position where you bought a home in the last 4 or 5 years and you feel like, man, I don't want to lose my low rate, or I don't have enough equity in order to do a renovation loan, but it isn't the right home for me anymore, you can sell and buy something else, or you can stay where you're at and renovate and allow me to guide you through showing what your options are. All right, my last topic for today is Dream for All. So Dream for All update, we are now 3 weeks away from the first round of winners hitting their expiration dates. So the first round of winners got 1,700 people got their money, and they got it on the last Friday in June, which I think was the 28th. You had 90 days to use the money, which gives you until September 26th. And that was the deadline. And CalHFA said in the beginning, hey, we'll offer extensions. They said it in their FAQ. And I reached out to them and I said, hey, under what circumstances will you offer extensions? And they said, extensions, what are you talking about? And I said, it's on your FAQ. Tell me about it. Well, we're not trying to talk about it very much, John. We don't know what the rules are going to be for extensions. And so we're not really publicizing that. Okay, fair enough. So I made it clear to everybody that, hey, they're not publicizing what's happening with extensions. Then one of my clients last week said, hey, John, I just saw that I called CalHFA and they said that we can ask for an extension within 30 days of the expiration date. And so I went on the website and I clicked the button to ask for an extension. And I had my story ready about what happened and why I need an extension and all the offers we've tried to write. And it didn't ask me any questions. All it did was say, do you want an extension? And I said, yes. And it said, great, we'll get back to you in 24 hours. And the extension was granted. The extension was granted. Not for 2 weeks or 4 weeks or 6 weeks, but for 3 months. They have an extension through December 24th, 3 extra months to purchase their home. That's great news for the people who have a voucher and haven't been able to find a home. But here's the deal. CalHFA emailed everybody. At least I've had multiple clients who've come back to me and said, yeah, John, I actually got an email from CalHFA telling me I should go put in for an extension. So CalHFA is encouraging everybody now to put in for an extension. And I've talked to many people who have done it. 0 were asked for any explanation, and 100% got their extension approved. Yeah, 100% of the people that asked for extension got their extension approved. So what's the impact? Well, here's your challenge. I see a question here. Let me finish this really quickly. Here's your challenge. Your challenge is that that's great for the current buyers, but some of those buyers are never going to find a home. Maybe they're waiting for their credit to improve, and they're like, hey, if I get an extension, then that'll give me more time for my credit to improve. Some of those buyers are hoping that the one house that they have in the one neighborhood is going to come for sale, and they're waiting, and that gives them an extra 3 months. But it's harming the people on the wait list who are ready to buy a home, who are unsure, should I pull the trigger? I had a client I met with yesterday that I explained this to them because they're on the waiting list and they moved down pretty far on the waiting list. But I explained that now I'm not so sure that the waiting list is going to get a huge push at the end of September, because everybody who wants an extension can have one. And so you might be in December before that waiting list actually makes a big push. And they said, forget it. I'm just going to buy without it. And so you're creating a lot of circumstances where people have been waiting for the last 3 months, hoping that by the end of September, they're going to be able to get off of the waiting list. And now they can't, because CalHFA's given away extensions like Oprah gives away cars. You get an extension, you get an extension, you get an extension. I jest. But the truth is, I haven't seen them put up a fight at all. Anybody who wants an extension can have one. How fair is that to everybody on the waiting list who's been postponing their buying? Now, I understand there's a lot of people who have valid reasons for an extension. I'm a little disappointed they aren't asking for a reason. I'm a little disappointed that they aren't putting any criteria around who gets an extension. It is what it is. We can't do anything to change what they're doing. And my job, my role is to inform you and help guide you. All right, so let's go to questions. And Clarissa has a question. Thanks for all your videos and education. Recommend you to people. Thank you, Clarissa. Congratulations on getting your keys yesterday. That is fantastic. I know you and I talked about 45 days ago. You were on the wait list. You got off of the waiting list, if I'm not mistaken, and got a voucher. I'll tell you that the conversation I had with my client yesterday about the waiting list is, Joy, I'll get to your question in a second. The conversation I had yesterday with the client about the waiting list, I broke it down this way. And I said, look, there are, in my view, 3 different categories of buyers right now that have a voucher. You've got the ones that have a voucher, got a voucher, and they're actively shopping for a home. And like Clarissa, they found a home and they're closing escrow. That's great. Congratulations. But you have 2 more groups of people who haven't bought a home yet. And you've got the ones who, first and foremost, maybe there's 3 more groups. First and foremost, the people who found out, hey, I don't qualify. I can't qualify. I don't want to buy. I bought something else. I'm moving out of state. And those people are have relinquished their voucher. They have said, I don't want it. And that's why we've seen a lot of people come off of the waiting list, like Clarissa, because they got somebody else's voucher when that person gave up. Well, guess what? Here we are, September 6th. Everybody who still has a voucher is determined that they can buy. The people who gave up because it wasn't a good idea, they didn't like the terms once they learned about it, their credit score was too low and they gave up. Any of those people, they gave up already. So the movement on the waiting list, I didn't expect much movement in the month of September. What I expected was the people who couldn't succeed in finding something at the end of September, they were going to lose their voucher and it was go to somebody else. All of those people are going to ask for extensions. All of those people are now going to get through December 24th, which means now the next group of people who get a voucher are going to get it in December. They're going to get 3 months and then they're going to get an extension and they're going to get 3 more months on top of that, which means the third group of voucher wait listers probably won't get off of the waiting list until next summer. So I had talked once before on a couple of my videos about the timeline and when I think that people on the wait list would get their money or their voucher and how far up the wait list it will take. And I showed versions saying, hey, every 3 months, we're going to have a segment of those people fall out because they couldn't find a home. That timeline just doubled. With CalHFA's willingness to give extensions to everybody, that timeline doubled. And now you've got everybody getting 6 months to search for a home. In a way, I guess that's a good thing because there's almost no chance that there's money coming out next summer for Dream for All, next spring. Maybe next summer in the next budget, they announce money that'll be available in spring of 2025. But there's no money coming out in spring of 24. So it stretches out the program. It gives more time for people to get it, not to register, but for the wait listers to potentially get it. But is that really a good thing? I don't know. We're just going to have to see. All right. So Joya Vanth asks, how soon can we refinance a Dream for All loan? Okay. So your lender is going to tell you have to wait 7 months. They're going to tell you have to wait 7 months. Why? Because they're protecting themselves. In the mortgage world, we sign an agreement with whoever we're doing the loan with, in this case, CalHFA. That CalHFA is paying us a little bit of money for finding that loan and sending it to them. And if you refinance before the end of 7 months, we have to pay all that money back to CalHFA. So we didn't make the money that we expected to make. And so a lender is going to say, you can't refinance for 7 months. Well, that isn't true. Okay. You can refinance sooner. If rates drop enough, you can refinance sooner. The lender loses the money they made on the original loan. Now, I'll tell you what I tell my clients, which is I explain that fact. And I say, so if you're going to refinance before that 7 month mark, just recognize I lose all of my compensation from the loan that we did originally. So what I ask in return is that you come back to me for the refinance, because at least I'll get paid on the second loan, even though I lost my money on the first one. I'd rather work twice and get paid once than to work once and get paid none. Okay, so that's the simple answer to what you might get as misleading information about when you can refinance a loan. Now, when should you refinance? That's a better question. You have one shot of refinancing a Dream for All loan before you have to pay back the state. I would be very cautious. Right now, we're seeing rates coming down. I think the Fed has made it clear even today that we are in a downward rate trajectory. And the Fed typically has proven that once they start going in a road, they are moving down that road pretty quickly. The market is pricing in probably a 2% drop in the Fed funds rate over the next 12 months. That does not equal a 2% drop in mortgage rates. Not at all. Because mortgage rates have already been falling in anticipation of what the Fed is doing. But the Fed can continue to influence mortgage rates lower. I think that we're going to see rates for sure in the 5s and mid 5s by the end of this year. for sure. I can't guarantee that, so I'm taking back the for sure. But my opinion is we're going to see rates in the mid fives by the end of this year. And by a year from now, maybe by the end of next year, we should be in the fours. Now, that's not a guarantee, but I think 4.75 is a level that we've kind of hovered around on the way up. We hovered around back before COVID. 4.75 in 2018 was the highest we went. And then we came back down and we were between 4.75 and 3.25 until we hit COVID. So knowing those marks, I think 4.75 is the next number that we really head down to and camp out for a little while. But be cautious of how I say that, because I thought the same was going to be true in 2022 when rates went up. And I thought, okay, rates are going to go up to 4.75 and camp there for a while. They didn't. They did an overnight stint and then they kept going up. Okay, rates didn't stay at 4.75 for long. So there are patterns that we look at that show us in history where rates typically live for a period of time, but that doesn't mean that's going to happen again the next time they touch those rates. But my educated guess, because that's all this is that we're likely to hit into the high fours in the next 18 months. And so the question is, how badly do you need to refinance right away? Because if you refinance too soon, you've used up that one refi. The next time you refi, it will save you money, but not save you payments. Because you have to add to your balance the amount that you owe CalHFA, including any appreciation. And I do think we're going to start seeing a good amount of appreciation starting next spring. I think this fall and this winter is going to be a crazy market. It's going to be a market where buyers are scared to buy because they don't want to buy before rates fall. You don't want to buy too early and end up with too high of an interest rate. But you also don't want to buy in an unknown market where you don't know who's going to be the president. You don't know what's going to happen with the economy. And so buyers and sellers are kind of pulling back right now. It should be a stronger market right now, but I think it's going to wait until the spring. I think we're going to see lower interest rates in the spring, and we're going to see a lot of buyers coming out of the woodwork. Okay, I'm ready. I know who the president is. I know what the economy is doing. I know what the Fed is doing. And now I can move forward in my home buying journey. And you're going to see more pressure on house prices going up. All right, Hunsu has a question. Do I think there's a possibility that the next government cancels the DFA program? So there's a lot packed into that. What I'll tell you is, first of all, Drain for All is a state program, not a federal program. So yes, the governor and the state legislature has to do with Drain for All, but that's already been signed into law. So they're not going to, that money has already been earmarked and allocated and put into the bank account at CalHFA. So do I believe there's any chance that they are going to pull that money back? No. I can't think of any time in history where they've done something like that, where the program is in place and they pull back the money. I could be wrong, but I don't expect that to be the case. The next administration could say, we're never going to do Dream for All again. We're never going to fund it again down the road. So is that a possibility? Yes. Unfortunately, anything is a possibility in that regard, including that they cut off the current financing. But I see no chance of that. So I'm not sure if that answers your question directly or not, but this is not at a federal level. So we don't have to worry about who gets into the White House. And it's already been passed by the governor and the state legislature. So the only thing is whether they're going to allocate more money to it. That is a year-by-year decision. That will 100% have to do with who is leading the state as the governor, what the makeup is of our state Senate, and what their thought process is on this program. And so there's a lot of moving parts there on whether they'll provide more funds to the program down the road, but I don't believe there's any concern about the current funds running out. All right, that looks like all of the questions that I have. If there are any more questions, feel free to type them in right now. Otherwise, just know that I'm here to guide you. As Clarissa said, whether I'm helping you directly or not, if you're seeing value in what I'm offering and what I'm describing to you, please let your friends and family know about me. Please refer them to me so that I can help guide them through the home buying process. And just remember, I'll be here every single Friday to update you. And in between, if you have questions, you can scan the QR code and set up a time to talk with me. I'd love to do a one-on-one consultation to help you, whether you're a potential homeowner or a current homeowner. I want to help guide you in making your home ownership decisions and helping you make good decisions to build wealth for yourself in the future. Thanks, everybody, for listening. Hope you have a wonderful weekend, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.